In another sign that people are not happy with the direction of the country and still demanding change, a new Quinnipiac poll shows 49% of voters say Obama should be a one-term president, while just 43% believe he deserves another chance. That's got to hurt the big guy, too. All right, now, well, what led to that result? How did President Obama make the decisions that brought us to this place? A newly released book begins to shed light on that with a much closer look at the president and his inner circle on everything from the struggles of passing health care reform to dealing with the sagging economy. What really happened inside the White House? Well, MSNBC political analyst Richard Wolffe joins us now to help us answer that question. He's also, of course, the author of the new book, Revival, The Struggle Inside the Obama White House. And that's what we're talking about today. Richard, first, tell us about the two different camps. Who are the survivalists and who are the realists?
Well, Cenk, what I wanted to do here is look at how they got into this kind of mess and how could they get out. And as you say, it took me to this point of looking at these two camps, this big divide in the White House about, for a start, how to revive, how to deal with the campaign spirit, the brand, the identity they built up over 2 long years in the 2008 campaign. These are guys who want to go back to reform and change and transparency and the things the candidate talked about at that time. And then there are this other camp, this survivalist camp that really wants to get along, do the deals in Washington and get by. And the difference between the two has been a running theme. It started before the election was over in a debate about whether to have lobbyists inside the administration or not. So it's been playing out for a very long time and is, to some degree, still unresolved.
So these survivalists are the ones that would, in their words, call themselves realists. Like they would say, hey, look, we got to play within this system and win within this system. Who was in that camp?
Well, the chief proponent was Rahm Emanuel, the former chief of staff now, Pete Rouse, the current chief of staff. You have a whole range of people through there, like Phil Schilero, who deals with Congress, who say, look, you know, sign the earmarks, do the deals, whether it's with Ben Nelson or Mary Landrieu and health care, and it's okay. That's what Washington does to get by. This is how you govern. And that tension between governing and campaigning was extremely difficult through the first couple of years here, and as we move into a new campaign, they've got to strike a different kind of balance.
So, and who were the survivalists, the ones that pushed for change, theoretically?
Well, the revival side.
I'm sorry, the revivalists, yes.
That's okay, it sounds the same. Revival side, you know, you're looking at David Plouffe, the former campaign manager, coming back into the White House, the communications side of things. Anita Dunn, now Dan Pfeiffer, and David Axelrod, too, although for the first year there was a debate with him about, again, this balance between campaigning and governing and whether they were drifting too far away from that reformist, transparent spirit that this guy ran on in the first place.
Richard, when you look at the results, though, it seems like they cut a lot of deals. Now, you can say the deals were good deals or bad deals. For example, the drug industry deal in healthcare reform is the best example, probably. Does that mean in the end, especially with his chief of staff now being Rouse, who's also in the survivalist camp, that President...
I think he's got a... If you ask them now, frankly, did those deals hurt them? They'll say, well, yeah, they did, but they thought that's what was necessary to get by. The problem is that they face, you know, this is the third change election in a row. Voters are hungry for more change. Even something small like the pledge to have healthcare debates on C-SPAN turned out to be a big problem, and people confused a lot of the deals together. They didn't know who started TARP, the Wall Street bailout, or where it's gone with the auto companies and the Recovery Act all merged into one. There was too much inside dealing, and as long as this president looks like the inside Washington guy, he's gone a long way from where he was in 2008.
Well, that naturally leads into the next question, which is, do they get it yet? Because as you talk about in your book, in the beginning, when they did stimulus, they were surprised at how much the Republicans were against it. And then by the end, you know, by the end of health care reform, they're like, oh, okay, I get it. And they had a respect for how much these guys wanted to block them and how well they played the politics of it. At this point, do they get these guys aren't going to play nice with them? And have they gotten past that naivete?
You know, Rahm Emanuel, who was often accused of being the sort of guy who was looking for compromise and bipartisanship, told me in Revival that, you know, there's no Bob Dole in this Republican Party anymore. Ronald Reagan couldn't get the nomination for the presidency in this Republican Party. So there is a realization there. The problem they've had is that they've just been looking for the other side among a handful of Republican votes as opposed to independent voters. In 2008, they were looking to a much broader audience for that validation, for that support. support, and it wasn't just Republican members of Congress. They've got to spread wider if they're going to get back into that campaign spirit.
I remember the guy who originally said that Ronald Reagan couldn't get elected as a Republican today. That would be me. So I'm glad to see Rahm Emanuel agrees with me.
He's channeling you, Cenk. Exactly.
Right. I'm glad to see that. But so what's the practical effect of this? What's their new strategy, knowing that the Republicans aren't going to go for bipartisanship in the next 2 years?
Well, I think we're seeing some of that now on the national security questions. You know, why is the president being so much more robust when it comes to this obscure nuclear treaty that no one kind of knows the terms of? Well, in part because he cares about nukes, but also because the Republicans here are not being serious about one of their core values here, which is apparently protecting America. If you're going to play politics with nuclear security, then you're saying essentially there's nothing more important than unseating the president, even when it comes to the security of this country. This is a chance for the president to say, I'm the guy in the middle here. I'm the reasonable one and the serious one, because if he just plays one party all the time, then those independent voters are not going to come back. That's the big group he's lost.
Right. Well, he could also play his own side every once in a while and see how that turns out. But I've got my takeaway on that at the end of the show. MSNBC's political analyst Richard Wolffe, thank you as always.
Thank you, Cenk.